Hi guys, this is IGCSE O-Level Chemistry, paper 22, Extended MCQs, June 2022, question 1. Which two gases will diffuse at the same rate at the same temperature? Okay, so if the temperature is kept the same, then the diffusion depends on the MR of the gases. So now they are saying which two gases will diffuse at the same rate. So these will be two gases that have the same MR. So the first thing we need to do is calculate the MR of all the gases that are given in the options. So first gas is carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide would be 12 plus 16, which will give us an MR value of 28. The next gas is carbon dioxide. This would be 12 plus 16 plus 16, which would give us an MR of 44. The next gas is nitrogen. This would be 14 times 2, 28. The next would be chlorine. This would be 35.5 times 2, 71. Next would be fluorine. This would be 19 times 2, 38. And last would be oxygen. Oxygen would be 16 times 2 equals 32. So out of these gases, the two gases with the same MR are carbon monoxide and nitrogen. So these two gases will diffuse at the same rate. So now let's look at the options. Carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, incorrect. Carbon monoxide and nitrogen, correct. Chlorine and fluorine, incorrect. Nitrogen and oxygen, incorrect. Therefore, the correct option for this question is option B. Question 2. Student measures the time taken for 2 grams of magnesium to dissolve in 50 cm cube of dilute sulfuric acid. Which apparatus is essential to complete the experiment? So we need to have the time taken. So stopwatch is a necessity. And then we need to measure 50 cm cube of dilute sulfuric acid. So a measuring cylinder is necessary. There is no mention of measuring the temperature at which the reaction is taking place. So thermometer becomes irrelevant in this experiment. And we need to weigh 2 grams of magnesium. So a weighing balance is a necessity. So out of the 4 given apparatus, we were supposed to select which apparatus is essential to complete the experiment. So except for the thermometer, all other pieces of apparatus are required, making option A the correct option for this question. Question 3. A chromatogram of a single substance T is shown. Which measurements are used to find the RF value of T? So the distance from the baseline till the solvent front is the distance traveled by the solvent, and the distance traveled from the baseline till the spot is the solute front, or the distance traveled by the solute, or T. 2 is the distance from the starting of the paper till the point where the spot has moved, and 1 is the distance from the starting of the paper till the solvent front. 1 and 2 are irrelevant measurements that are not used in chromatography. 3 is called the solvent front, 4 is called the solute front, and in order to measure the RF value, we would have 4 upon 3, as in 4 the distance traveled by the spot, and 3 the distance traveled by the solvent. So all we need is measurements 3 and 4, making option D the correct option for this question. Question 4. X and Y are two different elements. X and Y have the same number of nucleons. Okay, which means the proton plus neutron number added together is the same. Which statement about X and Y is correct? They have the same physical properties. They have the same physical properties. No, they are not going to have the same physical properties because one of them could be an ion. No, but it has said X and Y are two different elements. So if they are different elements, they definitely do not have the same physical properties. But an ion of the same element also does not have the same properties. Okay, B, their atoms have the same number of electrons. No, if they are two different elements, the atoms will definitely have different number of electrons. So this is incorrect as well. They are in different groups of the periodic table. Since they are two different elements and they have the same nucleon number, they are possibly in two different groups of the periodic table, because had they been in the same group, then the nucleon number would have been different. It could not have been same because down the group the number of protons as well as number of neutrons increases. So this is correct. And the last one, they have different relative masses, but they have the same nucleon number, which is also known as the mass number. So they have the same relative masses. So this statement becomes incorrect as well, making option C the correct option for this question. Question 5. The diagram shows the structures of three macromolecules P, Q, and R. What are P, Q, and R? So the options available to us are diamond, silicon 4 oxide, and graphite. So by recall, the structure shown in P having two different atoms in it is SiO2, which is known as silicon 4 oxide. The structure in Q is one carbon atom bonded to four other carbon atoms, which happens in diamond. And the structure shown as R has layers with slight attraction between them. So intermolecular forces. So these are layers of graphite. So the order which would be correct would be the one in which we have silicon 4 oxide followed by diamond followed by graphite. So that is present in option C, making C the correct option for this question. Question 6. Which dot and cross diagram shows the arrangement of outer shell electrons in a molecule of hydrogen chloride? So hydrogen only has one electron present in it, which would be shared, and chlorine being in group 7 has 7 electrons present. So this should be the structure of HCl. Hydrogen will have no unbonded electrons and chlorine will have 6 unbonded electrons. So this structure is the structure present in option A. In option B, we've got hydrogen with unbonded electrons, making the structure incorrect because hydrogen has a total of one electron present. In option C, there are no unbonded electrons present in chlorine. And in option D, there are no unbonded electrons present in chlorine and additional electrons present in hydrogen which do not exist. Therefore, the correct option for this question is option A. Question 7. The equation for the reaction between barium chloride and dilute sulfuric acid is shown. Which row shows the state symbols for this equation? Okay, so chlorides are soluble except for silver and lead, so this should be aqueous. Sulfuric acid is a soluble acid, so it is aqueous. Barium sulfate. Barium sulfate is one of the most insoluble substances known, so this should be solid. And HCl again is an acid which is soluble in water, so this should be aqueous. So the correct order would be aqueous, aqueous, solid, aqueous, which is present in option A, making A the correct option for this question. Question 8. Methane and steam react in the presence of a catalyst. 0.5 moles of methane react completely with 0.5 moles of steam. What is the volume of carbon monoxide and hydrogen produced measured at room temperature and pressure? Okay, so according to the given equation, The molar ratio of reaction is 1:1 is to 1:3. So if we have 0.5 moles of methane reacting with 0.5 moles of H2O gas or steam, we end up with 0.5 moles of carbon monoxide and 3 into 0.5, which is equal to 1.5 moles of hydrogen gas. Now the question asks, what is the volume of carbon monoxide and hydrogen produced measured at room temperature and pressure? So we have obtained the moles of carbon monoxide and hydrogen already. And we know that 1 mole of any gas at RTP occupies a volume of 24 dm cube. Therefore, volume of carbon monoxide would be 0.5 moles into 24 dm cube, which would give us 12 dm cube. So this eliminates options A and B. Now, for volume of hydrogen, moles of hydrogen is 1.5. When we multiply 1.5 by 24 dm cube, we end up with 36 decimeter cube, eliminating option C and making option D the correct option for this question. Question 9. A compound of element X has the formula X2O and a relative formula mass of 144. What is element X? Okay, so there is one oxygen atom present. So the first thing we would do is we would subtract 16 from 144, giving us a mass of 128. Now this mass belongs to 2 moles of the compound or the element X. So what we do next is, in order to find out the mass of X, we divide 128 by 2 and end up with the value of 64. Now looking at the periodic table, the mass of 64 belongs to the element copper. So the compound given to us was Cu2O, copper 1 oxide. So 1 is the charge of the copper ion in this compound, because oxide ion will have a charge of -2, and in order to balance that, there would be a charge of +2 on both the copper ions. So each ion would have a charge of +1, so that the sum is +2. Okay, so what element is X? It's copper, not gadolinium, not sulfur, not tellurium. Therefore, the correct option for this question is option A. Question 10. The diagram shows the electrolysis of concentrated hydrochloric acid and concentrated aqueous sodium chloride using carbon electrodes. Okay. At which electrode is hydrogen produced? So, in the case of concentrated hydrochloric acid, we would have hydrogen produced at the cathode, which would be the negative electrode here, and we would have chlorine produced at electrode 1, which is the anode. And in the case of concentrated aqueous sodium chloride, we would have hydrogen produced at the cathode, which is electrode 4, and chlorine produced at the anode, which is electrode 3. So they're asking us at which electrodes is hydrogen produced. So hydrogen is produced at electrodes 2 and 4, making option D the correct option for this question.